Sorry to hear that.
I hit the start streaming button just as you were saying that. So apparently someone might. Hey everyone, Jim's air conditioner died. What's the temperature over there right now?
Well, outside it's 80. In the house, it's about 84.
Ugh.
So definitely a sign that the air conditioner's not.
And you guys actually have humidity over there, am I right? Am I remembering that correct?
I'm
sorry.
It's here. Yeah, it's here.
I'm sorry.
Well, I think what happened is, like, if you have an air conditioner and you leave it run like hard and fast for a long time, it kind of like ices over. So I think it has frozen over inside. I have to tear it apart tomorrow. So, yeah, blow a vacation day out there, like wrenching on my air.
So, friends, welcome to the Space Game Junkie podcast. Real quick note, I don't think we're ever going to be immune from Tuesdays because I got a new modem. It's actually a fairly nice modem, and every day has been, with streaming, has been great until today. Today, when I was streaming Far Cry 2, was a fustercluck, and even now it's going yellow, green, red. So, just FYI, the connection might not be the greatest tonight. But hopefully the audio version, which I'm actually recording this week, I remembered to record it, will hopefully make it through. So welcome to the Space Game Junkie podcast. I, as always, am your co-host, Brian. Joining me, as always, sadly lacking air conditioning, is your co-host, Jim.
Sure is humid in here.
Yes. Also joining us, do you have air conditioning right now, Hunter?
Oh, no. Yeah, I'm great.
Oh, whew. Well, at least one of us has air conditioning. You might be the only one with air conditioning right now.
I'm going to the store to buy some.
Out of the four of us. The four of us.
Some Perrier, whatever it was. From
No,
space.
man, I'm gonna go get that computer duster shit and just like
that kind of
shoot
canned air.
myself in the face with it. Like,
Turn it upside down and spray it. Get that carbon freeze going on.
Joining us on my side of the country with no air conditioning is your co-host Spaz.
Hello.
Wait, are you guys serious? All of you don't have air conditioning?
they don't need that in California.
So,
70
well,
degrees.
hang tight. Where Spaz is, he's much further inland. He does need air conditioning. Spaz, why do you not have air conditioning, or is it not working, or there was a thing?
Right. Yeah, it can't be used. That's why.
Oh crap!
It can't use it. So it's
Oh,
an unfortunate limitation.
You're kind of in my boat.
yeah.
It got to 100 degrees, 104, 106 earlier in the month. So, yeah.
God. So for where I am, when they built these buildings 40 years ago, they were like, we're so close to the ocean, like 2 miles or 3 miles, we don't need air conditioning. It's cool down here all the time. Nah. So yeah, we literally do not have any air conditioning, like at all. Like we'd have to buy one of those standalone units. We can't even put in a wall, like a window unit. We can't even do that. So yeah. I don't think there's been any big news of late, right? Like Starfighter Gemini 3 came out last week, and it's in early access, and it has a way to go. Like the campaign.
I definitely didn't feel it. Like I gave it maybe 15 minutes, and I was like, I'm not really feeling it.
Oh, I actually enjoyed it, but like there's hardly any content. Like the campaign, quote unquote, portion of the game lasts an hour-ish, and then they're like, oh, stand by for more, coming soon. I'm like, what?
What did you see in their very first patch note? They were like, oh, by the way, we put that left trigger chase thing in from Rebel Galaxy.
I saw that they added that, but I couldn't get it to work.
Yeah, but I mean that their heart's in the right place. They're trying to do the right thing.
And they'll get there. It always takes some time to get there, but they definitely get there.
Right, I know they'll get there. I'm excited about the game. Yeah, Hunter?
Oh, I was going to say, from a mobile standpoint, I just heard about this game called Second Galaxy. Have you guys?
Yeah. I got an email about it this morning. It's like Evo. It's like full on Evo Online for your phone. And I actually have downloaded it, but I haven't played it yet.
I wouldn't say it's like it. It definitely has a lot of similarities because I just tried it this evening myself. It does have some promise and it does have some interesting things. I think it's channeling Vendetta Online pretty well, but it feels it's got a heavy tutorial intro, which kind of sucks because it forces you to click on the things it's wanting you to click on, and you have to go through that. And so instead of being like, well, I want to see what's over here, it like won't let me do that. So I've been going through the tutorial. And I think I finally finished it because I'm able to like actually click and do other things now, but it's very heavy-handed on the tutorial at the beginning, which might be for the better when you think about like a new game, especially on mobile, as deep as it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and they gotta appeal to the lowest common denominator.
But it does show promise, and so I'm definitely curious to check it out a little bit more and see what it's all about. Because everybody keeps saying it's Eve, and I'm like, well, I played that shit for 11 years. I'll let you know.
It's true. You played it longer than just about anyone. I think anyone I know. I think you've played Eve the longest.
I keep telling people I came off an 11-year bender, and I'm not going back.
You're lost 11 years. Instead of a lost weekend.
It all feels like one weekend, actually.
There's one from last week, which we didn't get to mention.
Oh, what was that?
Breath Edge. Breath Edge had its chapters 2 and 3 added to the game. Now, the first chapter you could get through in a couple hours. This adds closer to a dozen or more hours to the game between the two chapters. There's a lot. It is huge now. I've been playing it and enjoying the hell out of it. If you liked it before, you'll like it more now. It's huge. It's great. I have about 9 hours in the game at this point. I just played about 3 hours this week. Yeah, very, very fun stuff.
Wow. I'll have to return to it. I played it a little bit and I got frustrated that I kept suffocating. So, but
the sense of humor is still on point.
Is there there's still chickens? There's still chickens in there?
Yes, the immortal chicken has even more to do now.
Okay. All right. So folks, we do have a topic tonight. I am working on some guests, but no one's confirmed yet. But we have we have a topic for the foreseeable topics for the foreseeable future. I'm sorry, I'm very out of it today. But tonight's topic is we'll talk about games that were like basically the one-hit wonders of gaming. Basically, like why, and while we're going to focus on space games primarily, we'll talk about other types of games too, because that'd be a real short show if we only talked about space games. Even though I know it's Space Game Junkie, So I thought we'd talk about, games that like deserved a sequel or a remake or a reboot or something that never got it. And I'm going to start with the one that's on the stream here. It's called Millennia Altered Destinies. It came out in the mid-90s. And it's a time travel, space exploration, combat, and decision game. It's kind of a choose-your-own-adventure thing. Did you guys have any of you guys played this?
I don't think that I have.
No, I have not.
It's a fascinating game. Basically, this race of like immortal beings gives you this time traveling ship because these like microscopic robots are taking over the galaxy, and you have to guide 3 civilizations successfully through history so they can build you the parts you need to create a weapon to take them out. And so you'll be going back and forth through time, helping them with crises. And then you'll see whether you were successful or not. And, like, it's just so... There's so much variability to it. And so much can go wrong. It's just one of the most fascinating games I have ever played. And yet, I don't think it caught on because like it's complicated. You will do a thing with a race and then you'll fast forward a few years and you'll be like, oh, that didn't turn out as I expected. and you might not be able to go back to fix your previous decisions. I don't know if you can hear my cat, but she's very chatty right now. But
Chatty catty.
yes.
I heard her a lot during the stream this morning.
Yeah, she was very chatty this morning. She probably didn't like that I wasn't using enough Molotov cocktails in Far Cry 2 this morning. That's been the biggest complaint I've gotten so far, is that I need to use more Molotov cocktails. I keep forgetting I have them. But yeah, this game is... Huh?
I was gonna say, was your stream problem this morning just with Twitch, or was it with all the platforms?
It was with all the platforms. It was...
Yeah.
I think it's Tuesday. I truly think it's Tuesday because I didn't have a problem yesterday. I didn't have a problem Friday. It's a new modem. It's been much more stable. I'm getting better speeds. And yet today, again, because of Steam, I wonder who else does their network, like back-end reshuffling on whatever on Tuesdays. Because, yeah, today was like just a mess. It seems okay now, knock on wood, but earlier today it was... So yeah, I don't think this game sold well, which is probably one of the reasons it never had a sequel. But it was so creative. I'm wondering if it was like lightning in a bottle that can never happen again. You know what I mean? So I really wish it had gotten more love and maybe another entry, because it didn't like end on a cliffhanger, but it's like a universe and time travel. There's so much more you could do with this. This could have been like a Time Cop series or something, you know? So it's just a shame that it never worked out. So how do you guys want to do this? Do you guys have multiple games you'd like to talk about? And do you want to go like a round robin? Or
I just think we can just start talking about them, honestly. Because I can tell you right now, I feel like, specifically in the space game genre, we got sequels for it, but we never got like any kind of remake or re-release or a modern day sequel to it, which I think is a shame because it was so well received. And that's Rogue Squadron.
Yeah, that was that the full motion video one, or no? That was Rebel.
No, that was Rebel Assault. You're probably thinking of, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I always get those. I always get those confused every time.
Yeah, this Rebel Assault in 1 and 2 were kind of shitty in a way. Charming but shitty. The Rogue Squadron games, there was 3 of them. The second one was pretty good, and the third one introduced a really unique mechanic of being able to control like a character wonkily in a third person kind of perspective, which I didn't feel like was a needed addition to the games. But for its time, it was such a, and it still is, holds up well in my opinion, especially if you get like the GOG version of Rogue Squadron. It plays really well and it looks really good. I just wish we could have gotten something a little bit more modern in that same vein.
I hear you. No, I actually, because someone gave me a capture card, like an external capture card that can actually hook up to old consoles via component cables. And people want me to play Rogue Squadron 2, which I have. I've tried to pass that first mission 5 times. I can't do it.
It's challenging, that's for sure.
It's the Death Star trench run. Is the first mission. For God's sakes. And I die every time. It's crazy. Not that it's a bad game. Like those space console games like that and the Battlestar Galactica PS2 game, so hard. So hard.
Yeah.
I mean, they're great, but like the challenge, oh my God. But that's a good one. That's definitely a good one, yeah. was that more of an accessible type of start, like not like your TIE Fighter or your X-wing, which is more on the semi side of things, but was that a little more?
I would definitely say that Rogue Squadron was a lot more accessible than say TIE Fighter, because TIE Fighter and X-wing games were PC only, right?
Yeah.
And so, Rogue Squadron was on the N64, which was a console, which, at the time, you'd have consoles in tons of people's living rooms. It was a lot more accessible. And of course, it did come out on PC as well, so you had kind of a cross, platform thing there where you can have multiple outlets to grab it. But I'd reckon if you asked most people where they played Rogue Squadron, they probably played it on the N64 first.
Was the N64 the one with that weird like pointy controller that had the one analog stick in the middle of it?
The three, yeah.
The
it
three
looked like
prongs.
you needed 3 hands to use it.
Yeah.
It looked most stuff never really needed the D-pad, to be honest with you. So you'd hold the middle and the right, and that was.
Yeah, it looked like a reverse pitchfork, like you're almost gonna stab yourself with it. That's what it looked like to me, if I recall.
It was an unusual controller, and there's good reason why most of its design sensibilities have not been used since.
Yeah, I was playing the Dreamcast yesterday because it was the anniversary, so I loaded up Armada. And it's weird to play it. Well, that controller is weird on its own, but it's weird to play with a gamepad with only one stick. It's like, what is happening? This is so. Where's the other one? I'm so used to 2 sticks now. It's like, how did people do this?
They were products of their time.
They really were. They really, really were. So Rebel Assault's a good one. Spaz, what do you got?
That was Rogue Squadron, by the way.
Rogue Squadron. That's the even better one. I wrote both down in different spots, and my eyes went to Rebel Assault. I apologize. Spaz, what do you got?
Well, this one isn't a ship-based space game, so I'll just toss it in there anyway. But there's a game I've talked about on the show before, and it's Enemy Infestation. And what set this apart from pretty much any other game before or since is its weapon mechanic. And if you've played the board game, The Awful Green Things from Outer Space, you know this mechanic because it's used there too. Anytime you use a weapon in a mission, that weapon's effect is randomized the first time you use it, and then it stays that way for the remainder of the mission. So this is, if you think the old Commando games where you're controlling a squad of people, it's much in that vein. But for every mission, the weapon effects are randomized, and you have all these aliens that are trying to kill you, and you're trying to keep all these scientists and soldiers and just random survivors alive. And you might have these unconventional weapons like bats and this is odd. We lost Brian for a second.
Did we?
I think we lost Jim.
No, we lost Jim. Oh
boy. Oh, we did lose Jim. What's up, Discord? Come on. So wait, this game has multiplayer? Oh.
I never played it multiplayer, but I have the disc version. I don't know what happened to my disc. I think it got lost somewhere. But it's campaign. I mean, yeah, sure. There's randomness to it because, well, every time you go into a mission, those weapon effects are going to be randomized every time you play it. And then the survivors that you find will be randomized too. They may be even dead by the time you find them. But nobody's ever done another game like it. I mean, granted, the Alpha Green Things from Outer Space, the board game, has been around for decades, but nobody's made another game like Enemy Infestation.
We'll have to. I found an abandonware version of it. We'll have to get one of those new VLAN alternatives going. What's the one we were going to try? Zero Tier, I think.
Yeah,
and
that's on the list, and we can investigate the other one.
They never got back to me. I asked them very probing questions, and they never got back to me. So let's not try that one.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, all right. Is Jim back? Oh my God, Jim's not back.
No, he's still gone.
Oh my! Oh, there he is. He
Oh,
just
there he
popped.
is.
He just popped back. What's going on with Discord tonight? What happened, Jim?
No, it's not that. Because my wife's sitting here and she's bitching like she's gonna go down to Walmart and buy a fucking $500 air conditioner just
Oh,
for the
boy.
night. So before and it's just like, and I'm like, well, if you're not gonna use your computer, it generates a lot of heat. Why don't you turn it off? And she reaches over and pushes the button on my computer because she's dumb.
Oh no!
Oh,
Oh,
And-
okay. So
Jerry.
And
So
later
the-
in divorce court, is that
So-
grounds? Like if you just shut somebody's computer off in the middle of a podcast, what do you think the judge would?
Wow. He came back pretty quick though. Thank goodness for SSDs, I suppose. Oh my
That's it.
goodness. So Jim, we hadn't gotten to you. Do you have a game that you wish was not a one-hit wonder?
TIE Fighter.
Well, it kind of got a
Yeah.
sequel with
Well,
X.
yeah, it kind of did, but it's not the same, right?
No.
I don't think the games that followed on actually recaptured the. It's like that lightning didn't strike twice.
No, that's not unfair. I mean, those XVT campaigns are pretty good. I mean, they
They're
are
okay,
made.
but they're kind of from yeah. I don't know. And then
Still
the rebel, whatever it was,
X-Wing Alliance.
yeah, X-Wing Alliance. That was like from the rebel perspective, so that didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
that-
once I had my taste of TIE Fighter, like I just really didn't give a shit about an X-Wing except as a target.
the next one
that
I'll
kind of
mention.
led to a thought that I had today.
Mhm.
Was because I was watching a new game that just came out. I won't spoil it by saying what the name of it is, but somebody already has a ending of the game video up on YouTube, right? So
Dear
I watched
Lord.
the very ending of the game, and it's like it's an RPG thing. Okay, it's Greedfall, whatever. So you get to
That's
the end
what I
of the
was
game,
wondering.
right? Yeah, you get to the end of the game, and they give you one of those A/B choices, like the bad guy's standing there, and it's like Darth Vader. It's like, join me and we will rule together, or say no and I'll just die, and you win, like in 10 seconds. Like literally, it's an A/B choice, and that ends the game. So it's obnoxious that they get clear to the end like that, and no matter what you've done, it just comes down to press A or B, like light path, dark path. But in the last 10 seconds of the game is when you make it's not like you've built toward that or anything, which is weird.
Oh, you mean like Mass Effect 3?
Yeah, exactly. The Mass Effect 3 problem. Well, the Mass Effect 3 thing was kind of like no matter what you had done, because there had been a lot of building, it all turned into the same choice. No
Right,
matter
that's-
what you
that's-
picked, it
that's
ended
what-
up
that's
the
kinda
same.
what I
It was an
saying.
illusion of choice.
Right. And here it's an actual
An
choice.
allegory of life, maybe? I don't know.
Well, here at the end, it's an actual choice. Like, do the good thing, do the bad thing. Right.
Well, doesn't
but it's not a
doesn't
choice
Code
that you've made all along. It's a at the very end of it. Well, KOTOR, you're
I was going to say
choosing.
KOTOR, yeah.
Yeah, KOTOR, it's like all along you're choosing the light side, dark side in everything, right?
Well,
There's
kind of,
dialogue
but they
options.
but they give you like a definitive option at a point rather close to the like you
Really,
could be
like,
making
I could play,
making dark side choices, but there's like options to like straight up just like murder Bastila, like there was
So I could be like Darth Douche until the very end of the game, and then I choose, I'm the good guy, and then I get the good ending.
it got pretty close to that. Like I know with for example in the MMO version of the old, you can be like a good like Sith. Like you could be like a someone who's
the
working for the dark side.
MMO doesn't count though, because that's not.
Well,
That's not a real
but
game.
the same thing you could make dark choices and still pursue good results, or
Okay.
you know what I'm saying, like you
Right.
could pursue bad results by making it's
Okay,
it's weird.
So point being though is when you're playing TIE Fighter, right? You're not like a mustache twisting villain, right? It's told from a point of view where the Empire is the good guy, right? And they have infighting, like, but it's like, oh, these guys joined the rebels. Oh, they're defectors and they're terrorists and they're scum because they've decided, to defect out and whatever. And it's like, okay, yeah, the Emperor, not the greatest of people, right? But it's kind of like you as the pilot, right? It's more like like you go to the CPAN Civil War, right? Like you're trying to stop a civil war. It's not like, oh, we're here to crush them with our boot. No, you're trying to stop these people from fighting. It's a Star Trek ass thing, right? It's like, yeah, we're intervening in this the Bajorans and the Cardassians and right, that kind of shit. So it's very much a complicated story. It's not mustache twisting villainy. So I was watching the end of this game, and it's like, what if? Because the guy, he seems to have an argument, right? It's like, yeah, I did a bunch of bad shit, and I've kind of like, joined with the corruption, whatever, and I've done I don't even know context of what was going on, right? But it's like, obviously he's the bad guy, and he's like, join me, right? And it's like, okay, I could, but obviously you are evil because you look evil, right? You wouldn't have like that black cloud swirling around you because that means you're evil, right? So, and if you take the evil choice, it immediately is like, and everybody died and the world was thrown into chaos and shit was all terrible at the end, right? And it's like, okay, just one time I would like in a game for there to be an actual like gray area of there is not the good guys, the bad guys. It's not like a childish thing. It's like there are two incompatible points of view about a solution to a mutual problem, and then that brings these people to conflict because there's a lot of pressure about, like, hey, the world will end if we don't save it, and there's two points of view, and each point of view says, no, if we do what you say, the world's going to end, so we will fight you because our way is the only thing that's going to work, right? And I would just like one time you get to the end, and it's like, if you actually side with the villain, then you find out that the fucking villain was right, and
Okay.
his unfortunate and ugly way of solving the problem was the only thing that would work, right? And if you had goody two shoot it, then everybody would have died but felt heroic. Right? But it's like, but we all went down, but at least we didn't make bad choices, right? So it's the thing of like, I can like give a thing to the one person or to the other person. Well, what's that person going to do with it? How do I make the choice? Who gets, like, who gets this lollipop? Because it's like, do I give it to the person that looks more deserving in the moment, right? Do I give it to the beggar in the street because he's a beggar, or do I give it to the person who's going to actually go do
See,
something with it?
here's the thing, man. I feel like you really need to play SWOTOR. Like they explore this kind of stuff. Like, what if the dark side, or like what if the Sith aren't wrong? Like, they go down those paths.
Really? Because
And yeah, and
I
there's
played the
you
Sith thing,
didn't play
and
far enough.
I didn't play it up to level 50. No, I was like level 30 or something. But
You gotta get later into the story where there's like some other, like some of the expansions go deep into a lot of that.
yeah, see, they
And
lost me
like
before that,
and
man.
like the Jedi and the Sith Empire, they have to join forces. Like
Oh,
there's a
really?
lot of stuff. Oh
Okay, so,
yeah.
so there's
Oh,
the game.
wow.
The original KOTOR needs a real expansion. That's what we
Hmm.
need, and we need it to not happen perhaps in the Star Wars license space, because that's corrupt beyond salvation at this point. I would never trust another Star Wars product, and it's dead, it's done. But if there was somebody else like Mass Effect, right? That was like a clean new universe. They could have done anything, and they did some very interesting stuff. And I'm very sad that it just died like it did, right? Because there should have been something more to that. But that was also kind of a gray area thing, right? Because it was like no matter who the good guys and the bad guys were, you had this external threat that was coming. So it's kind of like had the bad guys been doing very bad and oppressive things, but because they knew that this thing was coming, right? So it's kind of like the elusive man in there, right? So he sets up like this whole organization to like basically overthrow the government and like take over because he needs to be Emperor Palpatine to deal with what's going to come, right? And the people that are the good guys are so busy squabbling with each other, which is kind of a parallel of the old Republic, right? It's like these guys can't even vote on a freaking trade blockade. Are they going to deal with like this existential threat that's coming from outside the galaxy that the Emperor knows about, but nobody will listen to him, so he has to actually seize control and like basically crush everybody under his boot just to get the resources of everybody in the galaxy to deal with it. But then the rebels were like, "Oh, he's bad," and fought this campaign against him and killed him. And then the existential threat shows up, just kills everybody, right? Because the good guys won. And that's what I want to see one time. Just one time is just like, hey, maybe the bad guy was actually right, and the good guy's triumph, which sealed everybody's doom. Just something a little more complex and adult than the things that we get. But anyway, yeah. So if we can get another KOTOR, that would be great.
Yeah. Since you brought up TIE Fighter, even though it kind of had sequels, it wasn't the same. One of mine is in that same boat. It's not a space game. It's the flight simulator EF2000 by Digital Integration Design. Now, it had sort of...
Typhoon.
Yeah, I mean... Oh, God, I forgot about Typhoon. But, like, you could also say Total Air War and F-22 were kind of sequels, but they were the F-22. I don't know about you, but as a flight simmer... By the time those games came out, I was so bored of the F-22. Like, really? Do we have to do the F-22 again?
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's this UFO. It's like, yeah, I can lock up like 20 targets and hit the button and 20 missiles go out and I killed everything. That's great. And that's why I feel like DCS has gone with that like 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s aircraft. Because you got like from the Korean War up into the jets that were complicated. Now, yeah, we got an F-18 now, right, that has all the bling stuff, but it's still, that's not like the next gen fighter stuff that's out there now that they probably can't really talk about what it, I've seen some shit what it can do. It's scary.
Yeah. I mean,
dude, I saw a video in a dogfight of an F-35 launch a Sidewinder behind it and kill a guy, and it was like,
what?
Yeah, I was like, what?
Oh
yeah, I couldn't believe it. It's like, dude, the missile can't fly off the wing sideways, and the guy's like, no, watch the video, and he showed it to me, and it was like, oh my god, it does.
That's why I love the F-22. It's kind of like that sweet spot because you can do some dogfighting in it. It's a great attack craft.
Yeah, but basically the way that weapons are right now is if you are acquired by sensors and they squeeze the button, you die. There is no like, oh, I'm going to pop flares and then put on the brakes. And no, you're dead. If you're in the air and you showed up as a blip on their radar, you're done. You're not getting away from it. So that kind of takes all the fun out, right?
It really does. It really
at that
does.
point, it's a air campers, like who sees who first, pop, headshot, you're done, right? So yeah. But we're playing unfortunately with terrible aimbot.
I mean our eyes. But I think I loved everything about EF-2000, from the campaign in which the Russians invaded Norway, to the versatility of the aircraft, to the variety of missions. I gotta try and get it running again for a stream.
Okay. All right, you've brought it back to me. The game that needs a sequel, Strike Commander.
You know,
Strike Commander. I'm not kidding. Because that was that game that was like, here's a Wing Commander ass game, but you have like a mercenary corporation business management thing going on as well. And then yes, it's a flight sim, but it's a very simple flight sim. It was the arcadey fun, like an Ace Combat sort of thing, except you're in the cockpit, not flying from third person, right? So it's kind of like that's that sweet spot, right, where it's like, there's a cool story, there's a little bit of a strategy layer going on here, and then it's super accessible. Anybody can fly this thing, and fun, right? So it's basically like the dumb fun Top Gun of games of the 90s. But I can't stand to play it now. I've got the GOG version, and it's just like that wall of fog up in your face.
Someone
if
actually,
if it had modernish graphics, I would just be on that all day.
someone actually requested I play it for a stream today.
You should.
So I'm
You
gonna.
definitely should. Yeah.
It probably won't be for a couple of weeks, but I'll do it.
You know what? I just know another Streamlock in chat said this, and I totally agree. Sins of
Yeah.
the Solar Empire needs a sequel.
Yeah, it's so weird. That came out 5 years ago.
It's got 10,000 mods that are all amazing, though. I don't think that they could make a game that would be better than the mods for this game. So, what?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think they made like the perfect game, and now they can't follow it up.
Well, hold on a second. You bring up an interesting point though with replayability on some of these games. So you look at like the X3 game. There's an amazing Star Wars mod for that, right? But the guy who originally started making that is now working on one for X4, and I saw some stuff on that the other day, and it looks amazing. So, and the same thing could be said about Homeworld. When they remastered Homeworld and they brought over some of the mods from like the original version, they looked amazing in the new version. So, just food for thought.
Yeah.
You like talk about having like a better version of Star Trek Armada 3 like in a new Sins engine or something like that. That'd be really cool. I mean that mod by itself is pretty excellent, but
it really is.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, but more robust Sins of the Solar Empire 2, that would be like getting Homeworld 3 or something.
Which they're making.
Yeah. I don't know on that, because the only reason I'm in for Homeworld 3 is because of the story. I don't know what they would change with the gameplay. It would have to. Do they change it so much that it's not really a Homeworld game anymore? At some point, it turns into Sins of the Solar Empire. Has anybody made a Homeworld mod for Sins? Because that would be interesting.
That'd be funny.
That would be the convergence, right? Like, yeah.
Or a Sins mod, or a Sins mod for Homeworld. That'd be funny.
Well, no, I don't think the Sins ships. I don't feel the personality behind them. It's just like, I don't care. Like, those ships could be anything. It's just like, it's the big ship, the little ship, the middle ship, the whatever.
It's true. It's true. They're not very distinctive.
But the Homeworld ships, those are a thing. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's like, because you deal with them in a very different way in Homeworld, because it's like, these are your ships. It's not like you just lasso 100 of them and throw them somewhere.
Right.
But you kind of can in Homeworld.
You can if you want to lose.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
It depends. If you're the Borg, that tends to work.
That's true. Spaz,
yeah, but that's the Trek mod, though.
Well, yeah, but
no, I'm saying in Sins you do that, right? Is just like, those are impersonal ships. It's just like, I don't care about them, right? But in Homeworld, it's like, okay, I built this like task force, right? And then
kind of, but like, again, it depends on your play style. So like, if you're in the type of mission that you're playing. So if you're playing on like a rather large map, like you might build a rather large fleet and just sling that fleet around, depending on if you're playing one on one or if you're playing in like some kind of group,
Yeah, but
session.
but you're talking about like skirmishy shit. I'm saying like
Well,
in
not
the
necessarily.
campaign. In the
Okay, the
campaign,
campaign is way different though,
right, and
and
that's where
that's
you
the
got
same
attached to the ships, though, is in the campaign because they
kind
would
of.
trickle them out. It's like, oh, here's this new ship. You just researched destroyers. Here's your first destroyer. Boom, there it is. It's beautiful, right? And then, like, figure out how to beat this mission with this new destroyer. Get to know it
Yeah,
very well.
but the campaigns though were very specific to like the story of something like at the
Yeah,
moment.
and
As
I'm
where like if
saying,
you're
and
playing multiplayer,
okay,
way different.
so tell me about the campaign of Sins of a Solar Empire. Do you remember anything?
Was it really
I
a?
have never I've never played the campaign
Was
of
there
Sins of the
real?
Solar
Was
Empire.
there a
Perfect. Right.
campaign? Was there a campaign, or was it
That's
just
my
a bunch
point.
of skirmishes?
That's exactly
wasn't
my
it?
point.
Wasn't it
Nobody
just
knows
skirmishes?
because everybody bought that game and went into skirmishes and mods like on day one, right? It was just like, oh, I figured out how to play it. Okay, cool, skirmishes. I don't know that maybe there isn't a campaign. Maybe it is all
I don't know if
skirmishes.
there is a campaign.
No, actually, there is. There is
There
actually.
is.
There's some set piece stuff. Yeah,
What?
but it's not a story thing that is like an epic like Homeworld. I swear,
Right.
I'm gonna look it up now. I swear there's a campaign on the menu.
I do not remember at all. There might be because I think I probably played it for my review back in the day, but no.
You know what needs a sequel?
No.
Star Citizen.
Oh wait, no, it doesn't have a scripted story campaign. It's got scenarios.
You ruined my joke, Jim.
Yeah, sorry.
So Spaz, do you have another one for the list?
Well, let's see. There's been a few that I've considered adding onto this list that need it. But one, I'm going to have to go back to it because I don't think it was done justice the first time. And that would be Star Trek Birth of the Federation.
Yeah, that game was not good, but it could have been good.
Yeah, I mean, there were some concepts in there that were great. Like it's when you had just a few ships on each side in the turn-based combat. That was interesting because you had different maneuvers you could pull off. You could give orders to each ship for how they were going to maneuver. You had to worry about firing arcs, shield defense. Klingon ships, you could engage them from the side because all their weapons were forward-facing. If you were Federation, you had all these different options. But then later in the game, it became blob versus blob. And because the game wasn't very well optimized, it would just be a blob.
I think the game that you're really wishing for is Fleet Commander or Federation Commander.
Something like that.
It's unfortunate, right? Like they did the original Federation Commander. That's what it was, right? It was Federation.
Birth of the Federation was it was the 4X in the
no. I don't mean Birth of the Federation. Oh yeah. Oh wait. Yeah, you're talking about the 4X thing. What's the one that you started out? It was crap. It was like a super lightweight Star Trek Bridge Commander kind of thing, and then you went through the generations of different ships and stuff.
Oh, Legacy.
Legacy. That was a terrible game.
Oh yeah, that was awful. That was apparently it was better. Apparently it was better on consoles because you can use a gamepad apparently, but on the PC where I played it, it was a freaking nightmare. It was a freaking nightmare.
The one thing that Legacy did really well was that they got all the captains together. And that is pretty much the only good thing about it that I can say. And that's unfortunate because I wanted it to be good. But it was a scaled down version of the Starfleet Command games. And it wasn't optimized very well. There were missions you just couldn't beat. The story was kind of weird and clearly not canon. But again, the one thing they had going for it was they got all the captains together.
Yeah, that's not enough.
No, it's not. It really isn't.
So I was a giant fan of Starfleet Command. Loved that game. Starfleet Command 2, I think, was the best of them. And
Agreed.
then what was Federation and Empire or whatever. And then they did the Orion Pirates after that, which just seemed like and then we stuck Orions in and sold you the same thing again, kind of thing. I don't know.
It was a bit refined, though. It was a bit refined.
Never got their shit together about the campaign map, and then their whole like online.
Oh God, I know.
Dynaverse,
terrible Dynaverse, yeah.
I wanted to love that, but it just was like, go here and fight 2 more ships. Go here, and it was like there was no variety at all. It's like, come on,
right? And that, oh God, that's a game that could have done with a campaign for sure. Unfortunately, they went like total sandbox RNG. We've seen that kill games recently, but yeah, but the whole deal of it being basically the board game, right? And it's all about like, how am I allocating power on my ship, and how am I maneuvering, and how do I time my weapon shots and strategically target things, right? It's BattleTech in the Enterprise, right? That's basically what it is.
And it's true to the board game in that respect.
Yeah. And I love it for that. But why can't we get another game that's like that? I don't care if it's even in the Star Trek universe or not. I just want a game that's uses that kind of mechanic where it's like, I've got X amount of power to distribute around the ship to power my weapons, my shields, my engines, and I fight against somebody else with a ship too. And then you could do, if it was like how the current Battlestar Galactica game is.
Deadlock.
Yeah, Deadlock. If it was turn-based like that, but then also had power allocation to your shields and weapons and crap. Like, imagine Starfleet Command in the Deadlock engine with all the complexity of Starfleet Command, plus it's a WeGo multiplayer.
Right.
It would be
super
amazing.
Concealed Intent is kind of what you're going for. I don't know if you played that one.
Once. And then we had the dev on, right? Like, I played it before.
Long time ago.
Yeah, it was kind of like, I don't know. It wasn't it didn't scratch that itch for me. I like the moving around kind of thing, but it was kind of like a sensors game sort of thing. But it wasn't like big capital ship, very slow motion dogfights with weapon arcs.
It's such a shame that Objects in Space just kind of died, because it could have been that.
Yeah,
it could have been exactly.
It could have been
what you were talking about.
Well, it would have had to have been a very different. It couldn't have been a real time thing.
Well, it was more of a sim, but it was like the power management and all that stuff.
It had all that stuff. The problem with that game was that you had to deal with the power management and like your box of spare parts, and on paper that's really cool. It's like, oh, I got to steal a chip out of the this to plug it into that to get my shields back on, or whatever. And it's like, okay, that's cool. But in practice, it's kind of like, I really don't want to be in the middle of combat, because you have a situation awareness problem as it is. And then it's just like, oh God, I got torpedoes coming and I got systems down. So I have to leave the room that has the map table and go into this other room where I have no idea what's going on. And then I'm just cranking a screwdriver in the thing. No, would have been great multiplayer though, because one person could be at the helm and the other person could be like banging a wrench on the thing.
Well, sure, kind of like Pulsar or say Guns of Icarus in that sort of style.
Yeah,
where
exactly
you could be running around doing those different tasks, but you're not the only one who can do them.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I just want another Starfleet command. I just want to charge my photon torpedoes and like allocate power to my shields and worry about which shield arc is going to face the enemy, because I know it takes him 10 seconds to charge his disruptors, and I can think like, okay, he's going to be here when his disruptors are ready to go. Like he's got a cone of probability of the places he can be, and I need to make sure that my strong reinforced shield is pointed that way, and then I give him no choice but to shoot me there, and that kind of stuff, right? That's just glorious. And it's like, do I power the tractor beams because I can stop the missiles, or do I, it's like all those little choices.
All these interesting choices. Yeah, but what I'm thinking you're wanting to an extent, especially with multiplayer, would be a more complex bridge crew.
Not at all. I don't want any kind of real time going on.
That's not what I mean.
I want Battlestar Galactica. But I'm saying I want that view. I want outside the ships. We're playing with miniatures on the kitchen table, except it's on my computer screen. Right. I want the board game thing in a real time pausable thing in multiplayer kind of deal. Right. That, or even single.
Well, hold on. I think you're missing what I'm saying here.
Okay.
The concept is that you still have the bridge crew. Your players are the bridge crew. You still have the roles to deal with the different things, but in the top down style of, say, Deadlock, Battlestar Galactica Deadlock.
Well, okay, and that would be interesting if it was a bridge crew thing, and it's like, okay, we got 4 players in one ship. But what I'm talking is more like Battlestar Galactica Deadlock. Hey, there's 20 ships out here. And if we wanted to play that co-op, great. Like, I could play it single player because I can pause the game and go around and like adjust all the things on all the ships. Or we could split them up however we want and play co-op, right?
So are you wanting to play this in real time?
No. I'm talking about, well, see,
real time with tactical pause kind of thing.
Well, Starfleet Command was real time, but that's because you had a ship, 3 tops, right? Because you could have a wing of 3, but it was like you had a full-time job in real time managing 2-3 ships, right? Because you had to think about like weapon arcs and the timing and the maneuvering and all that stuff, and it was not pausable, right? So I'm saying, well, you could upscale that to Deadlock size if it was pausable, if it was in the Deadlock engine, right? The perfect game is a Star Trek version of Deadlock that has all the complexity of ship system management and power allocation that Starfleet Command had, but it plays out in the, like, I'm going to WeGo format where it's like I plot my movement and then you plot your movement and then we hit go. Doesn't matter. It would, if you're playing it single player, it doesn't matter. It could take, like it would take as long as Deadlock. You can do
and that would be completely fine.
Yeah, and you can do this in Deadlock. It's just like they don't have shields, so you don't have to worry about that. And you don't have to really allocate power to weapons. You can say, throw it to my engines or throw it to my weapons or go balanced, right? There's not the minutia of it. So,
well, I mean, you do have the when how you allocate your stance does affect like the weapon range. It affects your flak defense. It affects a lot of things depending on how you're aligned. And then you also have to worry about armor facings on top of that. So they do have some of that, but not to the extent of Starfleet Command.
Right. And it's like, okay, Starfleet Command, it takes like 3 turns to charge photons. I can hold my photons and overcharge them. I can speed charge them, but then I take an accuracy penalty, and it also costs more energy than if it's minutia stuff. And in Deadlock, it's like, okay, I get to fire my nuclear missile every 3rd round. So it's like I still have and I don't have to worry about angle on that because I just launch a missile and it just goes, right? So it's a very different game. But as soon as I saw the game before Deadlock, whatever that was called, and I'm looking at that, I'm like,
Starhammer.
Starhammer, yeah. As soon as I saw Starhammer, I was like, dude, make a Star Trek game, or just make this moddable so we can stick Star Trek in here, because this needs to be Starfleet battles.
I would love it
It
if
just never happened.
because of CBS and Viacom merging, and maybe there'll be less bullcrap between the two of them. Maybe we'll start seeing more Star Trek games now. You know?
Well, if anything's
That'd be
possible,
great.
because if when you think about it, Brian, the fact that Nintendo Switch got Jedi Outcast and Jedi
Holy
Academy,
crap! Right? Oh my
like
god,
they're putting that stuff on the Switch.
that's a shock.
If they can take those old games and put them, which are out of the purview of Disney's new like canon everything, um, a modern console getting these retro Star Wars games is actually rather cool, because
Next,
I don't see them on the PS4 or the Xbox One. So
Are
Next-
they gonna like dust off these ancient games and sell them for $60 again?
well,
I don't think it's $60.
No, but the
That
fact
seems
that
to be the Switch thing, right? Is like, we can take what's ancient and then sell it. It's like, let's take a game off GOG, put it on the Switch, mark it up to $60. We can do it, right?
I have yet to see that, but okay.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
They're usually not They're usually not $60.
How- Okay, I don't own a Switch, but like, how
They're
much
like-
is Zelda? $60.
That's
Breath
different.
of the Wild is currently sitting at $48, depending on where you get.
But that's different.
Okay,
That's a Nintendo first
But that,
party.
yeah. But I'm just saying, like, they have like that eShop stuff where you get all the indie games, and they probably sell for $20 or $30 or whatever. But it just seemed like, okay, things that I could get on Steam for $10 are triple that on the new platform, just because. And it's a
Are they,
little
though?
closed ecosystem. I don't know. I don't know one.
Yeah,
But
that's
just-
kind of speculating. So like,
You just wait though.
Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus. Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus on Nintendo Switch right now is $39,
Oh
which
wow.
is respectable.
Yeah. I'm just waiting
for the Switch is $45.
I'm just waiting for Elite
there
Force
you
to come
go.
to the Switch.
Skyrim, like, on PC is 19, and if I catch it on sale, it's 10.
Yes,
So-
but it's been on the platform for how long? And
Right.
it's a
So I'm
different
saying
marketplace.
this is new platform tax, right? It's like, oh, I got a new console and I want these old games, so I pay full price for them.
But listen,
Like,
you already have it. It's not for you.
How many people that didn't already own Skyrim when they put it on the Switch?
If I get a Switch,
I don't know. Maybe my 15-year-old niece who's never had a PC before.
I don't know if I ever get
Yeah.
a Switch, I will probably be getting Skyrim for it. I mean, that's if I ever get a Switch, I'll probably get Skyrim for it.
You have to understand, like, just because we've been in the marketplace for forever doesn't mean like how many times are they going to sell me Super Mario World 3? Well, to me, I've already bought it like 3 different times because I've been around for a while.
See,
That's
you bought it
fine.
on the Game Boy Advance, you bought it on the DS, you bought it on the Switch.
But what about a young gamer who's never played it before who wants a copy of it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
You're discounting an entire new generation of gamers.
Nintendo knows how to get those people. They really, really do.
Well, but that's the thing, is that's part of the Nintendo model, is we will sell you Mario 3 10 times over your lifetime.
And if it's not working, then stop doing it. But
It's working. I would love to
it's
see.
like the Epic Store. Epic Store is terrible. Is it working? Well, yeah. All right. Well, that's the consumer.
Well, it's working because of strong arm tactics, but yeah, it's working.
I would love to see Star Trek Elite Force on the Switch. That's like start
There you go.
start putting Star Trek games on the Switch. Like away team.
I don't know, man.
Put away team on
like
this.
Star Trek. We're gonna have to see if there's any intelligence in this Picard show or not. But I feel like Star Trek is so far down the tube right now that it's just like, flush twice, it's a long way to the neutral zone. Because I don't.
You're not
Yeah.
wrong. I still need to watch
Yeah.
season 2 of Discovery though.
No, you don't. You don't need to.
Oh, all right.
So what happens is at the end of season 2,
No,
they're standing there
shut
talking to
up.
the
No,
villain.
let's
Matt,
not
and the
Matt,
villain
let's not do
says,
that.
says
Jim.
press A
Jim.
to join
No,
me.
let's not do that.
B to save the universe.
So one more game I'll throw out that I wish would have a sequel. It likely never will, but it deserves one. Is this is probably only for me, but Alpha Protocol. I don't know if you all played that one, but I love the. I'm on my second playthrough now. The first time, folks, if you haven't played Alpha Protocol, it's a spy game, and it's got some problems. Like its AI is not great, and the gunplay is a little wonky, but the missions are phenomenal, and like the way your character can change throughout the game based on the dialogue choices you make is second to none. So the first time I played, I was like full on born professional, super straight laced, got the job done, didn't argue with anyone, you know, and I apparently this game has like 11 endings. And now I'm playing on my second playthrough, and I'm a total psychopath. I am an asshole to everyone. And it changes the entire game. It's amazing. Like, everyone hates me. Even my handler. I mean, I still win the missions, but yeah, everyone is like, wow, you're that asshole Mike Thornton. Oh, Excelsior, that's sad. He said he wants an Interstate 76 sequel. Oh, that makes me sad. That makes me really very sad. That there was. And it's awful. It's so awful. It's just tremendously awful. Did you guys ever play Interstate 82 at all?
I did not.
No.
Good. Don't. Ever. Though Interstate 76 is a bastard to run on modern computers. Even the GOG version isn't great at that. Such a good game, but the sequel was terrible. Any other ones y'all would like to get in there? Games that deserve a sequel? I
think you know, it'd be really cool. I'm not sure if they could, you know, do this or not, but you know, maybe like a sequel to Half-Life 2 or something. I think that.
Actually, I did think of one that. Well, it kind of got a sequel, but it was only as a standalone mod, and it's Command and Conquer Renegade. The concepts they used in that game were great, and the execution. Okay, granted, completely flawed, but the idea of this you know, a shooter set in the Command and Conquer universe was cool, and the multiplayer was fun. And then, of course, there is Renegade X, which is the fan-made sequel, so to speak.
Which is actually quite good. We played it a while back, didn't we? And we actually
we did.
We had a great time with it, if I recall. We had a fantastic time.
And I think what would have made it awesome, I think, would be a series of missions where you're actually going through and you know, destroying bases along the way and getting new weapons to use, you know, getting different loadouts to use depending on your class, that sort of thing. But it actually has a campaign rather than just standalone skirmishes, because that's all it has. Renegade X specifically. There was a campaign in Command and Conquer Renegade, but it was not a very good campaign.
Yeah. It was a shame because that one there was so much hype surrounding Renegade, because it was like, it's Doom meet Command and Conquer? Everyone loves those games. It should be amazing. It's a shame. It's
yeah, I wish the execution had been better. I mean, there was another shooter game set to be made within the Command and Conquer universe, and that was
really?
Tiberium. Yeah, Tiberium was what it was called, and that didn't happen. I don't know exactly why it was canceled, but it was canceled in development.
That's a shame. Because Renegade could have been good. I didn't play it back in the day because I heard it was mostly multiplayer, and I was.
And the multiplayer was fun. To be honest, it was actually fun. I played a lot of it back then.
Oh, that's a shame. But yeah, Renegade X is quite good. Are they still working on that? Do you know?
Last I checked,
that's good.
I don't know how long ago it was updated, but I know they're still doing something with it.
Yeah. So do you guys have any more?
I just want a proper sequel.
Yeah. Do you guys have any more? I'm kind of running out of steam. Any more, Hunter or Jim?
No, this is good. I think we've covered a good.
We've covered quite a bit. We've covered quite a bit.
I mean, there's definitely other games I think out there that would be really cool to see something new with. Not necessarily maybe like a sequel or just something with the IP that is new, that is different. Or like, you know,
right,
re-releases, remakes, or like HD remakes. Like they just put out the, like I guess they went through the gambit of putting out the Crash Bandicoot trilogy. Now they just re-released the Spyro the Dragon.
Spyro trilogy, yeah. Apparently those are doing well.
Spyro, amazing, by the way.
You know,
really?
Like, you know, it would really. Spyro is a really fun game. What's interesting though is, you know, wanting to see the developers or these people that hold this, you know, under them, that they could re-release like an HD remake or a remaster or something of like Rogue Squadron or any of the like games that we've mentioned tonight. Like, it's possible, and I think it would sell a lot. Like, if they're re-releasing just the standard versions of like not Knights of the Republic, but Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy on the Switch. I mean, my God,
yeah.
Like, if they're doing that, there's clearly some kind of an interesting demand, and it'll be interesting to see how well that does on that platform.
I really hope they do well, because they're wonderful games. I can't imagine playing them with a gamepad, but who knows? They might be great. I don't know. I'm just gonna throw one last one out there. It'll never happen because Maxis doesn't make SimCity anymore. But I would kill a baby to have a new Simcopter. I would drown a kitten. No, I wouldn't. But I really want a new Simcopter, you guys. That's all I really want in this world, is a new Simcopter. That game was so great. It still is. Anyway, let's wrap it up. Folks, just a couple quick programming notes. Tomorrow's stream is going to be late. We usually start at 8 a.m. Pacific time, but I can't because the California Unemployment Department wants to meet me at 9 o'clock, so I have to go to that. So I'll be streaming Ashes of Oahu sometime tomorrow. Hopefully in the morning, but we'll see. But I will be streaming it at some point. And then Thursday, we're going to stream some Far Cry 5. Because of Hunter and Spaz, I bought it. And it's actually great. And
yeah, dude.
I'm actually on the Testy Festy quest right now, which is really great. But once I saw that they killed a bunch of dogs in a kennel, I was like, yeah, I have no problem killing every one of these cultists. Every one of them. Just lay them to waste. No problem at all. So they're doing a good job with the story and whatnot. And then Thursday night for the LAN party, we are going to return to Gene Shift. It just had a massive update where it's got revised gameplay mechanics, new menus, better bots apparently, and the bots are already amazing in that game. So I figure we'll try some of the campaign and then some like regular multiplayer with bots. So that's going to be Thursday. And then Friday, we're going to return to Sunless Skies because that game is creepy and amazing, and we need to play more of it. So, as always, I want to thank our patrons for supporting Space Game Junkie. You guys are the best. We just got some new ones, so thank you guys. We also have other ways to support Space Game Junkie because we're trying to make this a full-time endeavor. You can go to spacegamejunkie.com. There's a support page where you can see affiliate links, merch, that sort of thing. It's all there in one page. Very easy to find. And I'm going to end with, I just launched my own small business. I'm not going to bring this up on the podcast or whatever very often, but I just launched my own small business where I offer my 15 years of search engine optimization and marketing experience for an affordable rate, especially to indie game developers. So if you're an indie game developer and you're wondering why more people aren't finding your game or your page or your site or whatever, I'm here to help because I can now. So I want to thank you all for watching and for listening and for supporting and commenting and all that stuff. You guys are the best. We have the best community. I love you guys. And if you haven't joined our Discord, which is our most active community, please do. It's great over there. We have dozens of developers hanging out. Lots of people. We have new people joining almost every day now, which is kind of amazing.
Yeah.
And so far, just about everyone is really nice, very positive. It's a very upbeat community. So please head over to our Discord community. You can find the link either below on YouTube or Twitch or at spacegamejunkie.com. But we invite you to hang out with us because we don't bite very hard. So thank you for watching and listening and supporting, and we will see you tomorrow at hopefully early. Gonna watch Charlie the Unicorn again? What? Hopefully early in the morning for some Ashes of Oahu. Have a great night, y'all. Bye-bye.